Do you like the metaverse? Because I like the metaverse, and I'm really excited that Virtua's Cardano Island is sponsoring this episode. Cardano Island is one of those projects I'm excited to have in our ecosystem. There are small, medium, and large plots, also condos, plans for 4 main sections, different zones and districts, fan caves to display NFTs, 6 different land resources, land bots, non-player character slots, slots for our Cardano Summit 2021 NFTs, other games, and lots more features. I bought a large plot on Cardano Island, and I can't wait to be on my land to see what this becomes. Check out cardano.virtua.com or click the link below. Well, it looks like we weathered another small storm. Here we are now, gathered around the Cardano campfire, trying to keep warm in this crypto winter. But we also have to keep one eye on the shadows, because out beyond the glow of the firelight, we're picking up little hints of movement. There are things lurking in the dark, watching us, not in silence, but just quiet enough to keep us from being too on guard. They're just biding their time, waiting for the right moment when they think they can seize what they desire. And we know exactly what they want. Their hungry growls have been making it obvious for a long time. And what they want is not conducive with any future crypto would choose for itself. Ready? Let's go. Today, we are going to discuss progress toward the Vasil SPO threshold, the latest rhetoric out of SEC Chair Gary Gensler, and how that may represent a theme that could be a much bigger challenge for Cardano than anything that could ever go on with Vasil, some Cornucopias news, some Virtua news, some Ada Realm news, and some Carda Station news. If you saw this image and immediately realized there is a 6th wolf down here pretending to be a rock, maybe he's lazy, maybe he was out at the club last night looking for she-wolves, or maybe he's just a master of disguise. Or if you're finding value in these videos each weekday, please consider delegating to the Army of Spies stake pool, ticker AOS. First of all, look at our beautiful, beautiful Vasil progress. You'll remember from the last mid-month update, they let us know about the 3 triggers for the Vasil Hard Fork Combinator event. First off, we needed 75% of stake pool operators to upgrade to the hard fork version of the node. We needed the 25 largest exchanges that manage 80% of the liquidity to be upgraded. And we needed the top 10 dApps by TVL to be upgraded. Here we are after all of the, we'll call it discussion. We'll just call it discussion. After all of the Vasil discussion of the last several days, here we are, 34% of nodes reporting that they have adopted 1.35.3. We've got a bunch of their scales here. Online relays, 32%. Blocks in Epic 358. 24%. We're looking pretty good. Where were we at on Friday, Saturday? Where were we at? Like 20%? Now we're already at 34%. Lately, we have been very preoccupied, very focused on technical issues surrounding the Vasil Hard Fork Combinator event. And those are very important issues. Our blockchain must be technically sound. Very important for us to address these issues. However, I am not worried about Cardano handling those problems. Between IOG and our brilliant community of developers and other ecosystem members, I'm convinced any technical problem that comes up will be dealt with. The technical issues are not the monster in the shadows. It's something else, something that's been with us the whole time. It's not something that's cropping up now. It's something we've been talking about for a very long time. It's actually regulatory liability that's lurking in the shadows. It's been with us all along. The threat of regulators swooping in and attacking crypto in one form or another has always been a fear in crypto. but we haven't really seen it materialize outside of a couple instances. We've had the XRP lawsuit that's been going on forever. Ripple versus the SEC. This thing is like a saga. It doesn't end. It goes on forever. I'm sure it's all consuming for the people in the Ripple XRP ecosystem. But outside of Ripple, sure, we pay attention, but it's not existential for us. It's not really that big a deal. Sure, everybody's sort of pulling for the crypto side to win, and not many crypto people are in favor of the SEC side. Some are, but not many. But it's not that big a deal for the rest of crypto. Then Tornado Cash happened, and all of a sudden, it was an outright ban on a pretty well-known, popular platform, this Mixer. All of a sudden, it was like, hey, we're not just talking about a lawsuit, litigation going on between, basically an ecosystem, really, really like a corporation, but kind of an ecosystem, and the SEC. This was just an outright US federal ban on the use or interaction with this platform. And it was kind of extrajudicial. There wasn't really any trial. Like Tornado Cash wasn't put on trial. It was just edict. Tornado Cash is used by North Korean hacker group Lazarus. Still like the best hacker group name ever, Lazarus. So we're saying no American can touch this platform. Then things got real because that was a part of the Ethereum ecosystem. People got really worried. What are the implications for censorship? We want to dive into those things right now because we've addressed them quite a bit on this channel already. But what we haven't seen materialize yet is something that a lot of people in places like Washington, D.C. and other sort of regulatory capitals around the world, in the EU and elsewhere, something a lot of people in those places have been talking about. And that's the possible regulation of things like DeFi. One of the most outspoken critics of DeFi, I'm sure he would say that he's not even a critic. I'm sure he would just say that he's pointing out the incompatibility of the current circumstances with the current regulations. But one of the most outspoken critics for sure has been SEC Chair Gary Gensler. He likes to give these speeches every once in a while where he says things that are very incompatible with the current crypto landscape. In those occasional speeches, he's made it pretty clear he sort of has a most wanted list. On this list are certain crypto use cases, certain very popular crypto use cases, things like trading, lending, and synthetics platforms. He's made it very clear he thinks synthetics platforms aren't really in compliance with the current securities regulatory regime. Crypto lending. Here he says, we can dispense with the idea that crypto lending isn't subject to regulation. On the contrary, the rules have been around for decades. The platforms aren't following them. Non-compliance isn't the inevitable result of the crypto business model or underlying crypto technology. There's no reason to treat the crypto market differently from the rest of the capital markets just because it uses a different technology. Here's a video where Gary Gensler lets you know that he thinks treating crypto platforms differently is like saying that electric cars shouldn't have to have seat belts because they don't use gas. It doesn't make any sense to him. Just because they use electricity doesn't mean seatbelts aren't useful. And hey, the securities regulations are just like seatbelts for all of you consumers. He says, we have rules in our capital markets to safeguard market integrity and protect against fraud and manipulation. If a company builds a crypto market that protects investors and meets the standards of our market regulations, people will more likely have greater confidence in that market. See, to him, it's all that simple. Why can't you crypto people just build markets that meet the standards of our market regulations? And this is something he said many times. This is a big theme with him. He's like, hey, I'm not against crypto. Just come in and get registered. Come in and talk to my staff. Tell us what you're doing and get registered. But we've also seen the SEC accused in congressional hearings of doing things like sending out letters to a bunch of different crypto companies, crypto platform entities, and asking questions. And then if the companies don't answer those questions, they might face some kind of regulatory trouble. So you can understand, I mean, the SEC doesn't really have a reputation of working with, you know, a large spectrum of crypto platforms on a friendly, cooperative basis. Nobody in crypto wants to go in and get registered with the SEC. Some do, some projects do, but it's not too many because the hurdles that have to be surmounted in order to become regulated entities under the SEC are too great. The SEC machinery is maybe not a great fit for crypto. And that, of course, is why we've seen this initiative to treat cryptocurrency assets as commodities so that they fall under the CFTC. But people in crypto quote that like there's some law, like there's a law somewhere that's been passed already that says crypto assets are commodities. I think what we need to understand at this point is that's sort of our aspiration. That's not a settled matter. That's what we would like. We've had some allies in the Senate who have put forth legislation that does that under certain circumstances, but that was a bill that was proposed, not a bill that was passed. That wasn't a bill that became law. That was the idea of some of our senators, not even all of them, not enough for it to pass. That was a proposal. That wasn't law yet. And it's unclear whether those kinds of positions, sort of a more free market position, hey, let's let crypto flourish. The great danger here is not what crypto will do to consumers. It's that we stifle innovation. Certainly, a large number of people ascribe to that philosophy, but there are other people just waiting, lurking in the shadows, like your boy Gary Gensler here. He doesn't believe in that. He believes that all of crypto should be treated just like their traditional counterparts. The problem with that is that to him, it's just a few words. Meet the standard of our market regulations. Just meet our regulations. The problem with this position is that the crypto entities that could do that are very small. It's not like the crypto entities would become regulated and they would all just start meeting the regulations. More likely, the traditional market actors, big financial firms, would come in and fill a vacuum created because the current crypto platforms wouldn't be able to meet the regulations. If the Gary Gensler position were to prevail, it wouldn't be your friendly neighborhood ecosystem developer who wrote the crypto lending platform out of his mom's basement, who ends up being the one who's able to meet market regulations in a lot of cases. More likely, it would be the large financial firm who sees a void there, knows that they have a compliance compartment that'll make it possible for them to meet the regulations, and they'll come in and fill that void. And all of a sudden, instead of an ecosystem of community members, you end up with an ecosystem of customers and financial institutions. That's what the traditional markets are like. That's what the Gary Genslers of the world are used to. That's not what crypto currently is. And that's why we don't meet the standard of the US market regulations currently. So why do we keep hearing this from these characters like Gary Gensler and other regulators and lawmakers and policymakers and bureaucrats? There's a whole crowd of them in Washington, especially, and we hear their rhetoric just like this all the time. Crypto is an outlaw industry. Crypto needs to be, brought to heel. Crypto needs to be reined in. Why doesn't it happen? Well, one theory is because the US has very large congressional elections coming this fall. And no party a few months from a congressional election wants to be seen as cracking down on one of the most innovative industries in the country, something as embraced by the youth as crypto. Not even just the youth, by many different age groups. Certainly in Cardano, we have a very wide spectrum of people involved in our ecosystem. There are a lot of people who use crypto now. A lot of people like crypto. No political party going into an election this important would want to be seen as the one cracking down on an industry that everybody loves so much and everybody can see is vulnerable to being stifled. No political party wants to do that a few months before an election. But after an election like this, if a certain party prevails in the elections this fall, they might turn around and say, okay, now's the time for us to crack down on crypto. Because you sort of get this sense that the Gary Genslers of the world are sort of just waiting in the shadows. They're seeding the conversation with this type of rhetoric. It's almost as if they're waiting for something. Is it the elections in the fall? We don't know. But these are the kinds of challenges that worry me, not just for Cardano, but for the whole space. I'm not worried about Cardano being able to surmount technical hurdles or, spin up another test net or allow more time for SPO testing for Vasil. These are problems the Cardano ecosystem is always going to be able to surmount. But if there's a policy shift after the elections in the fall, this is a much bigger problem. These are the kinds of things we should be worried about. We're gonna handle any technical problem that comes up, but these are the kinds of problems that could be much bigger for all of crypto. We don't know what's going to happen, but just imagine a future where every notable lending platform, synthetics platform, trading platform, what if they all start getting cease and desist letters from the SEC because policy has shifted? It's 12 months from today and policy has shifted, or 24 months from today, or even further out. All of a sudden, policy has shifted. They have to crack down on DeFi. All they have to do is send out some cease and desist letters. And we can imagine crypto will not comply. We will defiantly stand up against this tyranny, that kind of thing. That's not what happened with Tornado Cash. There were definitely people saying those things, but what actually happened was everybody had to comply. The thing we don't know right now is why Gary Gensler's not sending out, if he feels so strongly about these things, why is he not sending out these cease and desist letters right now? A couple of possible reasons. Maybe it's the political timing of the elections. Maybe it's that the SEC is understaffed, which it always is, and he just doesn't have the person power to do these kind of things. Or maybe it's what we hope it is. Maybe he and the SEC really feel like they don't really have the jurisdiction to go after DeFi. We don't know which one of these things it is, but this is the real monster lurking in the shadows. This possibility of a future where those cease and desist letters do go out. Okay, to be fair, it probably wouldn't be cease and desist letters right off the bat. It'd be more like this pattern of voluntary questionnaires and then sort of escalation from there. But I think no matter how it starts, the chilling effect could be the same. Metaverse time, we've got Cardano Island land claim event news, or at least news of the upcoming news. So I think everybody remembers last week, Virtua let us know, hey, land claim event next week. Now they're giving us an update. We wanted to address the land claim event concerns and let you know what's going on. Our devs are working hard to make the land claim event as fun and user-friendly as possible. And as a result, this is taking a little longer than we'd envisioned. But don't worry, we're on it. It's not going anywhere, and it's going to be with you soon. It's going to be something that we're really proud to roll out. We massively appreciate all of your feedback as it helps us to continuously improve. We will work to give you more advance notice when we can about the land claim event. We'll give you more updates as things develop. And thank you for your patience and support. This is great. All we need are updates. Let us know how things are going. And the Cardano community is very used to being patient, so shouldn't be a problem at all. I'm really curious to see how the land claim event goes. I'm pretty excited to see everybody sort of, figure out where they're going to land in a big metaverse project like this. In the past, we've had metaverse projects where it was sort of roll the dice and we kind of got the parcel location that just sort of came to us randomly in the draw. But it'll be interesting to see what it looks like when the Cardano community actually gets to choose the location of their parcels. We also got some Cornucopias news. The custom dome cell dates have been released. Cell dates will begin on August 26th and end on August 28th. And they gave us this little chart to show, looks like day one are the copious domes, day two, epic domes and large domes, day three, medium domes and small domes. I'm curious to see if the crazy momentum that Cornucopias has had so far carries over into this particular cell, or if we see a little bit of a chilling. 'Cause now, I mean, we're getting deeper into kind of crypto winter, but a lot of the big Cardano metaverse projects haven't seen they've seemed to be able to keep up their momentum, and I wonder if eventually that'll slow a little bit. I think obviously Cornucopia has sort of addressed the number of NFT cells they were going to be having in the near future, and it kind of sounds like this is going to be one of the last ones for a while. So I'm curious to see how this one goes. Here's some Carda Station news. This is kind of interesting to me. I'm always curious how metaverse projects will try to use their fungible tokens. And this is kind of an interesting theme that I think we might see, popping up with other projects. So Carda Station says, "Hey everyone, as part of construction crew and land rewards, we've been airdropping Cast, the Cast token, to wallets that hold these NFTs over the last few months. Unfortunately, each month there are tons of plots listed on marketplaces, and all Cast airdrops that would have gone to the owners of those assets are redirected into the community fund. We've been thinking about how best to distribute these unclaimed tokens, and we've decided to reward the holders of the designated area deeds. If you needed some reminding, these are the plots in special areas that generate revenue. So from today, we'll be starting the Cast distribution program. Unclaimed Cast will go to holders of deeds in a specified designated area. The unclaimed Cast will be awarded to the areas that have their main feature opening, like central deed holders, because the community center is opening this week. Holders of central plots will share the Cast 3 million Cast tokens available." So this is kind of interesting. It's very intriguing that metaverse projects are really centered on non-fungible tokens, but they've all also, not all of them, but a lot of them have also adopted some form of fungible token. And of course, one of the features of the fungible token is often that it's sort of divvied out on some kind of a basis, often to the holders of the non-fungible tokens. And here they've run into this phenomenon where some number of the non-fungible tokens are being held in marketplace wallets because they're on the market, and they've made the decision not to attempt to make an airdrop somehow to these marketplace wallets, because those generally belong to the marketplace and not the individual NFT holders who've just deposited them there so they can be listed in the marketplace, that kind of thing. So instead, they're redirecting those unclaimed tokens to the holders of the common areas of the metaverse. I'm curious to see how complicated things get just in Cardano metaverses in general with these non-fungible tokens. Finally, we haven't checked in with Ada Realm in a long time, and they have a development update here that includes some progress they've been making on their in-game avatars. You can see they're not going down the Ready Player Me route. They're creating their own avatars, looks like, and they're going for more of a low poly kind of experience with the avatars. I think this has kind of been a theme with Ada Realm for a long time, ever since the start. Which is kind of interesting to me, because we've also got these metaverse projects in Cardano that are going for the very high graphic Unreal Engine 5 type experience. And at the same time, we know we've also got very, very massive online games with a very low poly kind of experience. And people love those games. The reason they're attracted to those games are things like, very compelling game mechanics, things like that. And it's going to be interesting to watch the Cardano metaverses kind of develop and evolve, because I can imagine people really enjoying those very high graphic experience type metaverses. And I could also imagine some metaverses with a lower poly experience like this having really compelling gameplay in some way, and people really enjoying having the experience in these types of metaverses as well. I think it's kind of like video games. I mean, most of the people I know who enjoy video games they don't enjoy just one game. They like to play a bunch of different games. Sometimes you might play one game for several months or something like that. But over the course of your lifetime, if you play video games, you're probably going to play a lot of different types of games and enjoy a lot of different games. I think it's probably going to be the same way with Cardano metaverses. You've got an additional thing with metaverses. You've got kind of a network effect. You want it to be populated with people. It's going to be a better time if there's a lot of people in a metaverse. So that adds kind of like an extra layer of complexity. But I can imagine a lot of different experiences with different levels of graphics and them being fulfilling in different ways. But it'll be interesting to watch all this kind of develop with the Cardano metaverses. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.